Welcome to episode 4 of Working Title. Today we are talking about book adaptations. My name's Lockie.
My name's Fox.
I'm Morgan.
And I'm Jarek.
Here we go.
Dabbing it out.
Dabbing it out.
Micro dabs for the win. So,
This is the only song I have on my phone, this intro.
Yeah. Alright, yeah. I sort of started off. We were meant to start an hour ago. I've eaten a whole bag of Doritos since we've started.
what flavor were they?
They were the new. You can hear the bag rustle. They're the tacos after midnight.
Oh, that's
Oh, I
kind
thought
of
that was
best.
in the Guardians of the Galaxy green ones.
No.
Ding!
That is kind of the best time to have a taco though. Like
Yeah, right.
You know,
it's like a burrito or a kebab.
Yeah.
Like stuffed to bin
Well,
out.
it's
Midnight
just
snack, yeah.
whatever it is. It's like meat wrapped in carbs. Is just quintessentially good.
Meat wrapped
No,
in
like a burger,
more meat.
lasagna, like anything's good.
Anything greasy.
Late night,
This is the
This is the food episode.
Food episode.
Yeah, today
I don't drink, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you not drink or does Callum Jones not drink?
Nobody drinks. Alcoholism is bad. So, book
Books.
adaptations. Well, I mean, we could start, with the classics, with the great ones such as The Lord of the Rings.
I thought it was to start with comic books and
No, I wasn't going to talk about Guardians. I figured that one's played out. But yeah, I think The Lord of the Rings is a pretty good example, just because Tolkien. Well, I mean, we could go all the way back to like some Pride and Prejudice or some Bram Stoker's
let's start with Lord of the Rings.
Or
Let's
Yeah.
talk about like
What do we
maybe very popular ones, ones that
Like
ones
Lord
that
of the
people
Rings.
understand. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you all know Lord of the Rings. Don't act like you don't know what Lord of the Rings
No,
is.
I've
if you're
definitely
listening
seen
to this.
those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Haven't read them, but I've definitely seen all the movies.
Really? Oh, give them a read. They're really good. Tolkien is fantastic.
I've read maybe half of The Hobbit. I just got angry at his writing because it's like meant to be a children's book, but I was confused.
That
Well,
was the first book I like the moderately sized novel I read.
something
Oh, okay.
something we have to consider while talking about this is it's not that was it a good movie, it's was it a good book adaptation, because it can be a good movie, but you have to understand, is it faithful to the book or is it
Well,
just a
the thing is,
complete...
I think a lot of movies that adapted from books, at least someone in the fan base is gonna be mad just because there are things that are left out that are so important to the storyline that not including them is a bit of a sin to the book.
We'll see, but that's why they did the extended editions. And I guess the best way to describe why Lord of the Rings is great in its condensing of... No, I'm using the word great liberally, okay? But why it was a great adaptation, why the adaptation was quite good, was because Peter Jackson made the decision to condense scenes and remove certain elements.
And it works. And
Yeah,
like,
it
they're
absolutely
still
works.
very long films. But
Especially if it's the extended edition, it's 4 hours per film, which is ridiculous. But I mean, it's enjoyed
forget
by
about
people.
I could
Don't
watch
forget-
Baby
so-
Driver twice.
Don't
who
forget
are
all those like fan names, the credits. Like that was It's also that as well.
But I mean, what I wanted to say was the great contrast between that and something like The Hobbit is, which was a pretty crappy adaptation.
I think it was like
of-
half-assed.
Well,
See,
the
I
issue
really
is that it's
enjoyed
a
the
trilogy,
I did.
but it's a trilogy out of one novel, which is a bad way to adapt something that doesn't need to be that long.
But I
if
feel
if they
like-
wanted it to be extended, it should have been two films.
two films,
That
yeah,
would have been
absolutely.
fine.
I feel
But
like-
3 was too
I think we
many.
discussed this
They-
last week when we said it should end with Smaug being...
Awoken
Either
is the end of the first. No,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, no.
maybe,
I think
even just coming upon Smaug is the end of the first film. End.
And then
second
open
film
with
is
that-
open,
yeah.
and there's dialogue between Bilbo and Smaug. That would be cool, and it's playing out those scenes, and then having
and that's also starting
Smaug,
in the action as
absolutely.
well.
But then also having Smaug die midway through the film instead of like in the opening half an hour of the third film.
Yeah,
which
Yeah,
is
because
really
they spent
weird.
a lot of... Because there was like, the half-ass shit, like the elf and dwarf
Yeah,
story.
the climax of that film was
yeah.
just him chasing after them in the ruins.
Correct.
Was that
It
right?
would have meant they could have taken more time with the character, but also more time to have him be
Menacing.
terrible and menacing. And when he is just destroying the lake village, you'd be able to take more time with it, basically. And then having the Battle of the Five Armies, which it wasn't really 5 armies. I don't think the worms
about 4.5.
count. But
It wasn't the worms. It was it humans,
elves, dwarves, and
the
orcs.
Orcs. There were two,
well,
but the two
goblins.
armies.
But
tree people.
There's 4, but then then the worms counted as the
Really?
5th. Yeah.
I thought, what was it, the bats?
Oh, the eagles.
Yeah, the
Can I-
eagles.
can I
got-
actually
Okay,
say-
so what would you call the films then? You know how there's like Unexpected Journey,
Journey.
Desolation, Smaug, and Battle of 5 Armies. Would you call it?
The Hobbit Part 1.
And Hobbit, yeah, Hobbit
Part
Part 1
2.
and Part 2.
Yeah, it doesn't need a sub name. Like I
Well-
think just the or even there, called the first one The Hobbit, subnote there, and the second one The Hobbit, and back again. Done.
Yeah,
Oh,
actually, you know,
true.
but-
Because it was there and back again.
yeah. So it's like they film it back to back, and it'd be an event rather than a movie being pumped out one after another, which is what they ended up doing.
But I feel like with their trilogy, they fell into a problem where they're like, okay, we need to actually add content that wasn't in the book, and I feel like there's ways to add content, which is good. Like, oh yeah, that wasn't in the book, but that was a good add.
I think
but
one thing
like,
they did
didn't
good
add
with it.
good content.
It's because
to
they
it.
went through the Silmarillion, which was just this massive compiled various storylines that were never actually put into the books, or stuff that was footnotes, or stuff that was just sidelined by Tolkien. And then they went, cool, well, we've got to make 3 films out of it. So let's just dabble here and there. Like all the Necromancer stuff and having Sauron return was such a poor choice because it contradicts the later films. So does Legolas being told, oh, go and find Strider. It's like, but he shouldn't be alive yet. Like, because it's it's meant to be like a 50, 70, 100 year, whatever the year difference is between The Hobbit.
Because
You know how they
Bilbo's young,
fix that?
and then by the time the Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
comes around, he's at his end of his life.
But he's still meant to be young because of the use of the ring, which is what kept Gollum alive. Like he's meant to still be alive because of his use of the ring. That's why he looks so young at the start. And that's everyone's like he's a 111th or whatever. I think it was like 111th birthday or whatever, and that's when he's like, I'm going away now. But yeah, boop. Ooh.
I feel like
That's
one
Frodo's
the
sword
one
for about
way-
3 hours.
Yeah,
The one
but that's
way
why
they
Gandalf's
fix-
like, you haven't aged a day.
Yeah,
like,
no.
The one way they've kind of I think they fixed that was having that head elf. Sorry, the one way they fixed that was having that head elf just kind of say, oh, 100 years in an elf is like a blink of an eye. And it's like
Yeah,
it's
but
such
hobbits
a
do live
half-assed
long
thing.
though.
they
and that
do,
Well,
but
apparently
not,
so do elves.
not super long without aging noticeably in real life. But also, Aragorn shouldn't have been alive. But they talk about him as though he's already a ranger.
Or he's like a fucking
But he's just a
3-year-old
human.
child.
Even though he's got king's lineage in him, he's still a human. I don't know, maybe it's
Yeah,
different.
that makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
because it does look like it picks up straight after, which is not.
Yeah, it shouldn't at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't help that they've got Elijah Wood there and he's going, oh, and then what happened, Bilbo? And he's like, I mean, it's not that deep, but yeah, the idea.
I feel like also the film is torn because it wants to. I feel like it's trying to very deeply root itself into the Lord of the Rings kind of storyline, because it is a part of the storyline. But then they realize The Hobbit was a children's book, and the Lord of the Rings trilogy was a very serious, not children's trilogy.
Yeah.
And
Wait,
like,
which was written first?
Oh.
Google.
I actually feel as though it were The Hobbit.
Bing.
Lord of the Rings was 37 to 49.
So he started.
Oh no,
like,
so Hobbit was 37, and then they followed in 49.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
But I feel like, does anyone feel like the film's kind of torn between being a children's film and a serious
Well,
film?
it doesn't know what it wants to be because it
Well,
wants to
it's-
match the
it's
tone of
got
the previous films, but it
the-
shouldn't.
Yes.
It should be lighter and more
Exactly.
fun, or if you want to make it dark and gritty, which I don't think it needs to be. It can be a separate entity.
It can-
within the
it can
same
be
They
universe.
separate
started
entity.
off really light.
I think
Yeah,
so
and
they've
then
got,
it
they've got all this
gets-
stuff like kind of like Bilbo already starting to act up with the ring, especially at the end of the Battle of the Five Armies when he's kind of been keeping it secretive. So it's like it's definitely trying to embed itself within their own lore, but
But
it's
the
just-
river scene.
What you
And
mean,
then
the barrels?
contrast-
I mean, that was just
with the
that,
barrels,
I think
and then
that
co-
was trying to make it lighthearted.
And then contrasting that with like the bit,
the spiders, maybe.
or just like any other like fighting bit, maybe with the orcs where they're being hunted. Just like
Yeah.
that's like a very serious moment
the-
to contrast with them being barrels in the river being chased.
The issue is they don't leave the Shire for the first hour. They should leave within the first half an hour. It should be quick. It should be like, there's all these people. Oh, they're all dwarves. I told them you're a thief. We're going to go on an adventure. And they leave.
I
And
get that. No, so because I've read the first half
Yeah.
of the book, I get there's all those music and the songs and everything in the start of the book, but you don't need those in the film. If you're making that dark and gritty, who needs the fucking like, here, shove a plate in the shelf, break a plate? You know,
It's like in the Lord of the Rings when you had I can't even remember his name, the elf who
Legolas?
was
Gimli.
no.
Gimli the
Sorry,
elf.
not the elf. fuck, the,
Gimli's great grandfather
yeah.
was
Oh, the-
in the
Fordham,
Hobbit, but
yeah.
like, but
It's my son, Gimli.
oh,
His
dad. Was
son.
it, did they say dad or grandson?
They said, I'm
like,
pretty sure it says son. Anyway,
cares?
like they had the song in the end of Return of the King, or like kind of middle when they're
When one of the hobbits sings.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was okay because it was about war.
But it still
it was
fit the
heartbreaking.
tone.
But that was the one where that was during the montage of the son of the king of Gondor, and it's Faramir, mate. No, not Faramir.
there's too
Pheromone.
many fucking
He's just
names.
making up
No,
names.
Boromir was Sean Bean.
Oh,
Sean
yeah.
Bean,
So- 'cause he always
and
dies.
then,
Wait, Sean Bean was dead already.
Well, he died in the first film, but I'm talking about his brother, played by David Wenham. I can't think of his name, but anyway, the king or the steward king who was ruling in Gondor sent his son away because he wasn't his favorite son, and he sent him to die basically. And remember, because he came back and he thought he was dead, so he was going to light him on fire. But then the little hobbit was like, "He's alive!"
Wait, no.
And then but he was too grief stricken.
Wait.
It's during that scene
Yeah,
where
yeah,
he's
I know,
sending
yeah,
him
yeah,
essentially
exactly
to die
that
because they
scene.
know they're going to get defeated.
Yeah,
Because
but like that scene.
Boromir
was
and
Sean Bean.
Faramir?
It is Faramir?
Faramir, yeah.
Oh, I was right.
Yeah. The David
on you.
Wenham.
Gosh, I'm
David
good.
Wenham?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is Faramir.
Good old
Yes.
David Wenham.
Yeah,
So
good old David
it's like-
Wenham.
Like this, it's like so that scene did kind of set a dark tone of war, especially a dark tone for the Hobbit in that scene, who, you know, hobbits are very
Small.
isolated from the dark tone of the human world and all that. So I think that kind of scene just kind of set the fact that, you know, hobbits themselves are this lighthearted kind of species, creatures, whilst, you know, humans on the other hand are. So of course I'm delving into subtextual.
Crueler. And then as
exactly.
they're exiting the Shire, they're going into this
cruel world.
uncertain
You know, exactly.
world.
They
And it's bleak and it's
yes.
shot differently and it looks muddy and grey and everything. Before I leave, I was just going to suggest another couple of cool films that were based on novels. American Psycho is pretty cool. Have you guys seen
Oh
it?
yes.
I've definitely not read it, but we've seen it. yes.
Yeah, you have seen it?
I definitely have not read or seen it.
Okay, well, I'm going to
Let's
lend you
start
the
the
book.
Add
list.
that to the list.
I'm going to lend you both the book, one at a time, obviously. Read
How
over each
big
other's
is
one.
it?
It's like that thick. It's not that
Okay.
thick.
He was
but
mentioning
it's
that
a
was
really-
half a meter.
it's a really cool read, but also, I think the film's fantastic. I didn't use the word great. Hey, ole.
Another counter, please, Fox.
The great counter.
Yeah, you should have the great-o-meter.
It just
great.
pings.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like, is it good or great? And if it's in the middle, it's like
It's
7
neutral.
to 10.
Yeah,
It's
rating.
neutral.
Yeah. Christian Bale's
Yeah.
fantastic in the role. Like, he really immerses himself within this weird...
Oh, the Fall Out Boy song. I got it.
What?
No? I'm cutting that joke out.
No, leave that
leave
joke
it, you
in.
gotta leave it
You know,
in.
Leave the
American
joke in.
Beauty, American Psycho, the Fall Out Boy song.
Yeah, I know what song
Yeah?
you're talking about, but like, I'm like, where did that even come from?
Fuck it.
Wait, is it like the difference between American Beauty and
No,
American
that's-
No,
Psycho?
it's a song.
It's a song.
Yeah, I know what you're
Anyway,
talking about.
but I like that it's this camp kind of over the top. It's not serious. It's
Can I
like a
just-
black comedy
yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, can I just say the meme that always pops up in my newsfeed
Dubs?
when he wants when he wants
have to
to
return some
nail you on the
videotapes.
couch and then a picture of American Psycho.
Which one? Wait, when he's sitting on the couch with a cigar?
No, when he's with the
Oh,
nail
when
gun.
he's got
With
the-
the nail gun.
Oh
Yeah,
my
nail
god,
gun,
yeah.
Get it? That it's
That he's
That's
about to
nice.
nail his secretary.
that one. All right.
We don't have the rights, Lockie. We don't have the rights.
Just like beep it out.
Yeah, just
It's just massive.
Yeah.
Copyright.
Serious
I'm making my life a lot
serious
harder.
distortion.
You hear Fox. You hear Fox. We don't have the rights.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But the other one I was gonna suggest was gonna be.
Just fucking say it.
It's a Martin Scorsese film. It's called
Goodfellas?
The Last Passion of Christ, or
Oh,
something.
the
not the
yeah,
Passion
the
of Christ. No. I'm talking about the Last Temptation of Christ. With Willem Dafoe as Jesus Christ.
What?
And not Martin Scorsese. What's his name?
Where
He's in
Willem
Mean-
Dafoe
he's
plays
in
every
Mean
single
Streets, he's in
character.
Reservoir Dogs. He's
Michael Madsen.
no, not Michael. No. He's
Tarantino.
You're gonna be okay.
The Lie to
and-
Me guy, is that who we're thinking of?
No, he's in.
And we're film
Google
students.
it.
Brad
Last
Pitt.
Temptation of Christ.
Brad Pitt.
And David Bowie's in it.
Recipes.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift. They're just naming people's names. I don't know what's going on.
Justin Bieber.
He's in space. Anyway, but it's this really kind of trippy. There's some really weird sequences in it that are really cool.
We've
And,
got
I mean, it's
Willem Dafoe, Harvey Keitel.
Harvey Keitel. That was it.
That's
Yeah.
the one.
Look at me
What
being
did
into
I
it.
say? Kretler?
Kretler. Harvey Kretler. Harvey Kretler. Yeah. Yeah. Quality film. That's obviously based on.
The Bible.
Oh. Of course.
That counts as a book.
Yeah.
Fiction, I think.
What's another one?
Oh.
Yeah. Popular memes. Finally, obviously, personal favorite, Battlefield Earth. And I'm gonna leave you guys with Battlefield Earth. to think
Battlefield
about.
Earth.
John Travolta.
Is that like
Forrest
the
Whitaker.
film that killed his career?
It's the Scientologist one.
Oh,
It's based on a book by L. Ron Hubbard. It's very bad. It's very,
So
very
bad book, bad movie.
I'm just looking at the IMDb page and this fucking looks trash.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the one where he's got like the weird
Yeah,
hair.
he's got the weird hair.
Oh, this
He's
is when he started wearing
got
wigs.
the dreadlocks and
just the cover looks shit.
and he wears really high boots.
We need to do
and
like
he's
a-
like, I was being taught to conquer planets when you were just a boy. Like
Put
he
your
actually has a
hands over
line.
your
No,
mouth.
not a banging voice. It's just something he just says when he's drunk at a bar, and it's just really weird.
So the dialogue is very on the nose.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm just gonna. There's a 33-second trailer. I'm
Oh.
gonna go watch it and then I'll
Do
be
it.
back.
Oh, do it. But
Right.
I'm heading off. So
It's
great.
nice to have you
Great. Add that to the counter, Fox. Have a good night, guys.
Drops mic.
Meme strong. Oh, I can't really drop it. It's already mounted.
We- Can I just say something? So we waited basically an hour for me to get my mic because I forgot it. When me and Morgan could have shared one mic.
Yeah, we
Definitely could have shared a mic with
Well,
me, but I smell, so best not. Peace and love.
Right.
See you all.
Thank you, Morgan,
Alright,
for joining
cheers,
us.
Morgan.
We'll see you next time.
See you on another episode.
Bye,
What one will it
Morgan.
be?
Thanks. I didn't.
Morgan just wanted to add the Clockwork Orange. I have just watched the Battlefield Earth trailer and I
Now-
want to say it looks like shit.
I can already say thanks for taking your top off, Fox. Please don't do that again.
Moving on.
All right. I just want to say that if there is a movie trailer where there is like
Only the jumpers were
No.
removed.
Yeah, that's what they say. If there's like, that narrator voice, that really deep, and I feel like it's
In a
already
world.
about in a world.
Like our
Oh, what?
episode one.
Don't judge a movie by its trailers. We all know.
We
all know-
the
we all know
Star Wars.
Suicide
we all know
Squad.
how Suicide Squad turned
What
out.
do we look like? Some kind of Suicide Squad?
No, but I agree.
Back to
but I'm
the
saying
podcast.
Very
Come on.
bad trailers usually have that fucking voice, and it annoys me.
Okay,
Alright,
audio
I don't know.
viewers, we're trying to have a silent moment so Lockie can cut Jarek out and add himself.
All right, okay, I'll let
Harry
you.
Potter, though, that's a book series. Jarek, you've read how many?
I read 2.
Fox?
None.
I'm winning.
I'm winning. I've read all 7.
Oh, good on you.
Amazing.
Wait, do you mean 8?
No, I actually haven't read the play.
Wait, no, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the fact there were 8 movies, 7.
Even
Oh,
when
fuck
Morgan's
off.
gone, he's always got one more opinion. I've got a message from him. The Godfather. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, we've already discussed Godfather. Okay, Harry Potter.
Alright.
Okay, what about in the Fantastic Beasts, like series as well?
I
feel them as book adaptations just because there has been
okay.
a big part of the lore.
After I started reading Harry Potter, which I read them over like 2 years because I was finishing high school, etc. The first 3 spot on, movies spot on to the book, except
I feel
when
like
the third one comes by, it's missing a few little bits, and that's a bit jarring.
I mean, I think like the 3 was like its ability to time travel. I mean, it wasn't like a classic.
It's magical, Jared.
Yeah, I know, but it's also time travel.
Yes, but it's.
But at least it's set.
There's
the
only, like-
movie and I'm pretty sure the book sets its rules for magical time travel in pretty well, and the boundaries in which you can do. You have to turn. I think there was how it should ended, and it's like Snape has to turn the fucking time turn like 57,000 times just to get back to kill Voldemort, and it's like, yeah.
All right. No, but like they're pretty spot on. There's a lot of stuff that's chopped out of the books. Like Dobby returns in every book after 2, and that's some of the funniest stuff.
I think the fact that I know this because my sister told me Hermione doesn't eat at Hogwarts because of how she found that there's actually house elves making all the food.
Sort of, but sort of not.
That's what she told me.
Yeah,
after reading.
So Hermione gets this whole thing, and I think about book 4, she realizes that the house elves are actually so they just think that the food's being magically conjured up for them every night, which they obviously chop this out of the movie because it's irrelevant to the main story. But Hermione's character plot is she runs this organization, this like
Dumbledore's
fundraising
Army?
organization. No, called SPEW, SPEW, which I don't know I forget what it.
And they've got some pretty J.K. Rowling has got some pretty good,
all right.
I can't even know acronyms or anagrams or something.
It's the Society for the Promotion of Elfish Welfare, and so her whole thing is she found out that house elves are slaves, and you'd see Dobby and house elves in the house, but realizing that all of these house elves, like hundreds of them, are working for Hogwarts, she flips her shit and just decides to make this thing, and she gives her out like badges and stuff and promotes it as a fundraiser sort of thing, like to help them be free. Dumbledore ends up sort of helping in certain ways, but a lot of the elves don't actually want to be.
Well, I mean,
Well,
okay,
can
so I just want to
have a point just about the Harry Potter book as a total, more so books in general, is books can add those tiny little details that you're right. It's like it's not essential to a plot in a film, and also. It's
a waste of time on screen.
Not only is it a waste of time,
No,
but
I think it is a waste of time when you think about the overarching story.
But imagine like in a film where it has that, and you're just like, oh, okay, well now I like Hogwarts less. Like, why do they want to paint Hogwarts as a semi bad?
Yeah,
especially when it's meant to be a safe place.
Stuff like that does get cut out of the
mean,
movies.
you think about it. Doesn't the
like perspective,
but the book? I mean, the movies kind of already paint Hogwarts in a somewhat bad light. I mean,
but when you think about like, I hate Hogwarts. I have elf slaves everywhere.
Yeah, but compared
why
to
would you want to tell a kid that? It's a kid's film.
Yeah, but compared to this, so Hogwarts has a 3-headed dog locked up somewhere in the castle.
No, actually, I want to add on to that though. The 3-headed dog, all those challenges in Hogwarts in the first film. At the end of that, there was meant to be a potions test that Hermione and Harry do. So Harry can go forward, but Hermione doesn't. And then that's why Harry is alone at the end. She doesn't stay back with Ron. Ron is left alone.
Yeah, he's left at the chessboard.
Yeah. Also, remember the dragon that shows up at the start of the film that Hagrid has that we got from the guy in the bar?
Yeah.
There's a whole chapter chopped out of Norbert. There's a whole chapter chopped out of the film where Harry and I think Hermione have to. No, it's Harry and Ron because Hermione's not their friend till the end of the film. Book, sorry. Whereas Harry and Ron have to hide and take Norbert up to the top of the school, so Ron's brother, the dragon trainer guy, can go take him to safe.
Yeah,
captivity.
I remember reading that in the first book. It was I feel like it didn't really add anything.
No, that's. I mean, it's little things like that. Yeah, they fixed it up,
and they were just like, all right, Hagrid gives Hagrid asks Ron, hey.
Reading the Harry Potter books, yes, they're better, but I think this is an instance where the adaptations are a very, very good adaptation of the books because it does everything you need, tells the stories, and it does all the subplots really well, and everybody loves them, and people love Harry Potter.
To the point where J.K. Rowling can, or like produce a film based off a book that was in like the first book written by some dude. You know what I mean? Like they made a movie based on a book in the book.
Oh,
Fantastic
you're talking about
Beasts.
yeah. So I was going to say that before. Is I haven't read Fantastic Beasts, but I did when I was younger. Sit in a bookstore,
feel like-
opening up the book, flicking through the Fantastic Beasts, because all it is a bestiary. It's not actually.
It's not like a novel.
Yeah, it's written from the perspective of Newt Scamander. So,
But I feel like I'm getting all shivers. Oh, Jesus. What are you doing to me, Fox?
I have
So-
this power over people.
it's that patchy beard.
Patchy beard.
You're gonna have to change your character now. Yeah, but like I feel like the name of that movie, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, is very much hit and miss.
hit and miss. I like
the film. I like the film. I just think the name could have been a bit.
Oh, the name. They could have just called Fantastic Beasts.
Exactly.
But the thing is, the book was called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find
Yeah, I know,
Them.
but like I don't think. Well, I mean, a lot of books aren't even named what the books are called.
I know, but they're building a series off this. So if you're doing Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, it's like they can go Fantastic Beasts and blah blah blah,
Yeah.
or
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic Beasts and the
Fantastic-
Battle of
Fantastic
and
Beasts
the
and
Battle of-
Grindelwald's
One more
Return.
thing. You talk about how everyone that reads a book and watches the film, it's the same comment is it didn't include everything, and also in the book you always get a deeper understanding of the characters' thoughts and feelings and how they
Well,
actually
yeah, because you get to spend more time with them.
but also you actually get to actually read their thoughts.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
You can't actually hear someone's thoughts in a film unless it's narration.
Or unless it's externalized. Through
Externalized.
action.
Yeah, exactly. But
Which I mean, like through the fifth movie, Harry's inner conflict is very well externalized through action and very good like montage, especially towards the end.
Yes,
Of the bit.
but that's also because the book is fucking huge.
Yeah, I know.
And
I'm sure there's so much cut out of
it
that.
took me
fucking-
so much to fucking read that book because it's just so much
There is a lot.
now
unnecessary
you
bullshit.
say that point just there, right? Do you actually imagine they remade the book like word for word, shot for shot, exactly how you want it? Would you watch that? It would be
In what? So they replaced
thing I cut
5 with 5, but add all the stuff that was cut out.
so. Yeah, imagine
yeah.
you had nothing was cut out of the book. Nothing.
basically
Oh,
included
if they did that,
everything.
redid the whole series, I'd definitely watch it.
It'd be
I
like a
don't-
5-hour long
you'd-
movie.
I know, but you'd have
Yeah, an hour
for Order of the Phoenix to do that. You'd have to split Order of the Phoenix into 2 films. You can keep
See, Deathly Hallows was shorter.
Deathly Hallows was shorter, but it was still that long though. Whereas they could make 2 films.
And
out
I
of
feel
it,
like since it's a kind of Lord of the Rings thing where they're going on this journey to find certain items.
Yes,
there is so
but
much more
the
you can bring out and
But
definitely
the
bring
Battle of
characters back.
Hogwarts had to be long enough
Oh, yeah.
to show all the character moments and stuff,
you know,
and the action,
deaths
because the action in a book is explained in the dialogue or explained in. Like,
You think of that
little-
as a screenplay? Imagine like if you were to directly from the book and then basically not really paraphrase, but more just write it word for word in a script.
the dialogue doesn't
long-
work either.
Exactly,
because
yeah.
the dialogue is between a film and a book is different, and
See,
then they have to change.
I think in a book you can have so much more unnecessary conversation. You know, hey, how are you? Like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But in a movie, because you have to constantly be moving the
Well, in the
storyline
movies,
along.
they don't even say hello or goodbye in a phone call because they need to get to the point. They're not going to
Exactly.
waste time with hello, okay, oh, thank you, goodbye. Like,
But,
cut
you
all
know-
that out, you know?
Lucky. How about that movie we watched where what's it called? The Room. Possibly
Tommy Wiseau.
Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero making a reunion this year with Best Friends. Can't wait for that. Straight to
Best
DVD
friends or
shortly.
best fiends?
Best Friends because it's got the R. I think it may be rated R just because of because of the amount of blood and the gold digger as well.
It'd also be rated R for
Shit, for really fucking bad.
yeah. Okay. Like Harry Potter, like it's,
I love the series, like, especially we kind of grew up with it.
yeah, because
Exactly.
we were all like
6-ish. Yeah, I was
No,
6. I
when-
remember because I went and saw it in the cinemas and I saw half the film because of how many times I had to go out and pee because my dad got me this massive drink and I was like, I gotta have it.
Well, I had the Harry Potter 1 and 2 on videotape.
actually
I
we
had
we were
the-
3.
We were
We
3.
were 3 when the
I'm gonna
first
have a
film came
picture
out.
Really?
of videotape on the screen.
So either way, it's kind
But
of like
either
we've
way,
kind of
we
grown
grew
up
with
with
it. Yeah,
it.
People
See,
understand
people
how
from
old
the
that
90s
technology is.
Yeah, people from the
90s
90s grew up with
90s
the
kids
books,
will know.
right? So you grew up with the books, and that's why the books are children's books for the first 2, and by the 3rd one, it brings dark stuff in, and by the 4th one,
See, that's
there's
the thing.
different writing styles in it, and you're meant to grow up reading the books.
The thing, Steven said last week about The Godfather how the the 3rd movie didn't come out for like a decade later, so it was a completely different generation to watch it. And I think, you know, with the Harry Potter series, they did it really well, transitioning
Harry Potter
with
grew up with
people.
it. Yeah, Harry
Exactly.
Potter grew up with
because
it.
the
And they
characters
changed the
grew up
cinem-
in
yeah.
each book as
And
well.
they also changed the cinematic appeal to fit the audience at the time.
It's like
Yeah.
they're like, okay, whoever's 6 now, you're gonna love this film for the rest of your life. Like that's how they went.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna make it
They
for you.
they literally targeted a generation.
Yeah, well, the books
And-
targeted one generation, and then the movies had a different one, and that's why I grew up loving Harry Potter, is because I watched the movies, and then I finished, and then I wanted more. I just wanted more, and then I decided one day just to pick up the books, because I had bedtime stories with my parents, and they were reading Harry Potter or whatnot, but then I never actually read them for myself. So I went back and I started, and I read.
Oh fuck.
So I went back and I started reading Philosopher's Stone, and I read that in like a week, and I read The Chamber of Secrets next, and then The Prisoner of Azkaban, and then I took a break. But like just reading those 3 books just brought back all of that
All
that I had in the films, which I feel like anybody that was reading had that again when they watched the movies.
Yeah.
And then the thing with those films and the books is you can read them over and over again and never get bored. They're just
What we're saying is like Harry Potter is probably one of the best well done film adaptations, mainly because it was able to grab a generation and stick with that generation
Yeah,
as it grew
exactly.
up. And then also, I feel like this, as Harry Potter approaches that age of 17, you know, you also had probably the generation who was probably, I would say, 15 because 6 and all that.
Yeah.
But that at the age of 15,
I think-
at the age of
I think
15,
when
yeah,
it
it was
finished-
about an 11-year series.
Yeah,
it took
actually
11
think-
years to do all 8 films.
we would have been like
I was
13
12.
or 14
Yeah,
when
I was
it-
12.
when it- yeah.
So
Okay,
it came
yeah.
out- yeah. So, and then it took another 5 years just to release a new film.
But
Jeez.
that's the thing is
But I think
sorry,
Fantastic
who
Beasts.
made Fantastic? Is it Sony that made it?
It was Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers. Okay. I'm stopping to edit this out. That's why I stopped.
Yeah. Okay.
So Warner Brothers approached J.K. Rowling and was like, "Hey, look, we want to make another Harry Potter film," and she's like, "Wait, I'll write a screenplay." So she sat down. They were like, "Oh, we want to make movies based on around these characters," and she was like, "Wait a sec, I'm going to write the screenplay." So she wrote Fantastic Beasts, and that's why the movie did so well, because
yeah,
it was
yeah.
written from her.
And
if it was written by anybody
I
else,
think,
it would
yeah,
flop.
Because she knows the universe. She knows it well enough. She has
Well, she
developed
created-
it well enough. She
If
was
you
a
give it to
creator.
anybody else,
Exactly.
I
And
mean,
it's
look
that-
how the play ended up. The
The-
play was 2 different people.
Play,
but she just
the play was so there are so many videos, and I've watched most of them about how they would have made the play better, because the play itself is just a piece of fucking shit.
Oh,
the
really?
play
Instead-
skips a lot of years. I've read up to page, I want to say 30,
No, it takes-
and 4 years goes in
It
30
takes
pages.
yeah, because it's like no, because nothing interesting happens because
Because they're pussies, they're little bitches. That's
Exactly.
why, and that's also why I stopped reading that. I will
The-
eventually go and read
yeah.
it, but like,
But like, you know, there is these massive, you know, there is this antagonist who is really shit because she doesn't really attempt to be something different. She's one of those, you know, let's resurrect Voldemort. Yeah, you know, like one of those ones. Oh, hail the great Voldemort. Like, there's nothing different about her. Like, it may as well have been Peter Pettigrew again if he didn't die in the originals. But like the whole, I mean, you got like this weird shit between Hermione and Harry, like an affair. Like there is so much wrong that just fucks.
is that honestly in the book?
I'm dead serious. I'm pretty sure I watched a video and they said that shit shouldn't fucking happen.
Well, because
It doesn't fucking make sense.
I mean, I understand them having a divorce in between the last book and like, you know, but like
It's just stupid. It doesn't.
that whole last moment in the book where it's like, what is it, like 20 years later, 19 years later,
Yeah.
is that they're all happy
That's-
family and they're
yeah.
such a close knit unit, and it's been almost 20 years. That ruins the whole play, ruins that last moment. That gives it less credibility.
Well,
think it gives it
it's
a
hard
less
to
loss of
expand a world.
authenticity.
Like when you have a world and you're like,
But
okay,
you've
now we
got-
need to expand
You've
it. You
got
think about
all
Star
that
Wars.
time.
Think about Star
between-
Wars though,
Yeah,
like
but Fantastic Beasts was a prequel, and look
Yeah.
how that turned out. They didn't do anything with
They didn't fuck it up.
Fuck up the universe, and that could have changed history. They could have added characters. Yes, Dumbledore's going to be a weird young kid in it, but like that's the
So is,
universe.
like- no,
Grindelwald,
yeah,
Grindelwald
Grindelwald.
is a lot older in the film than he is in the
But
in
think
that
about-
But I
film.
think that's more.
If you think about like it's
They
it's
just
hard.
need it to be- They need it.
They're
to
trying
be-
to think outside the box. They're like, okay, we need to have new content. You know, you can't just
new content that doesn't contradict the old.
Yeah, you can't contradict. But you also say that in Star. I think Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Darth Maul is alive.
Yeah, but they explain it.
They do explain it, but like you see how like realistically, like what the fuck? But it's like it's kind of like a bullshit
see,
kind of
there
thing.
is-
But then it's
The thing
just
is,
like,
in the
it's world
original
expanding.
7 books, there are so many different backstories that they can use. You know, you've got the Marauders, so Harry's dad, and like you got that, like the generation before Harry, so his
Yeah.
parents. That is an interesting story.
Yeah.
as
That
well.
actually, that would have been a lot better as a play. Like
yes, I agree.
Because having them
Because there is conflict with,
with Snape.
Remus, as well.
Remus. Like, and that would work so well. Actually, now thinking of it, that would work so well
That
as
is
a
a
stage show
fucking-
because you go, Harry's dad's the main character, but he's also an asshole.
Exactly.
Right? And they're also
It's exactly
just,
like Assassin's Creed 3.
exactly.
So-
With the
And four.
killing.
But see,
and,
you make the play based on Snape as the main character, and so is James, and that's how you play it out.
And you've got Lily as
And Lily
that,
as like the love
that,
interest.
that middle ground.
Exactly, and it's that would and
And I
as
think
a
that
play,
between,
it
you
would
know,
work.
two pure families, well, he's half-blood, yeah. So between a pure blood and a half-blood, that works as a good conflict as well, especially at the time.
Yeah.
So I feel like we just did a pitch for
Yeah,
Warner
we-
Brothers, copyright working,
Yes,
working
let's
podcast.
just copyright that.
But-
Copywriting
and
right
we'll
now.
sue them.
Sue them if they
in a
ever
few-
do
in
it.
a
But
few
you also
years.
have to try to think outside the box a little bit too. You're talking about expanding content that people already kind of know of, that they
Yeah, but think-
semi-explain.
but the thing
you
is-
have never even heard of what they did, what they expanded on. You know.
But you
Yeah,
kind of
they
get a
did,
sense.
They did it in the films though.
They did it in number 5.
They did it.
Was
They,
it 5? Yeah, it was 5. Order of Phoenix, they did the... Oh, and 7 as well.
No, because they did it in 3 when they introduced the map,
And also
And they did it in
introduced
7 when they-
Sirius, Remus, and
Yep.
Peter Pettigrew.
and then they did it in 7 when they explained
When Severus's yeah.
love. So
And they also did it in number 5 when Snape is trying to set up barriers for Harry, and Harry reflects it back at him.
yeah, well, that
Which-
that in the book is a lot bigger as well, and then you learn little droppets of stuff in the books.
I
a
feel
lot.
like that's just such a
that's
revelation
also what was
to
cut
Harry's
out,
character
yeah.
because of how
That
what
was
his dad
also-
actually was, and how Snape remembers him.
Yeah, and that was also what was cut out of the book 5, is there was a lot between Snape and Harry, and that book was Snape and Harry's relationship with Dumbledore overlooking it, and it was a lot about going back and having a look at he learned a lot about his father, and then that
Especially
was,
leading to
and then that left
6, yeah.
and then that left it, and then in book 7 they went back to it, and when he learned who Severus was.
Well, just to talk about books generally, also is what's good about, or what's probably appealing to book adaptations, is that it's pre-made content. It's like you have all these contents that's been made, and
Yeah.
if it's successful, if the book becomes successful, you know that there's already going to be an audience too.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like saying, like, oh, I have 100 million, 100 million. But
You gotta
I
think.
have 100 subscribers on YouTube, right? And I want
Which
to
we
make,
don't.
and I want to make, a film, and then these 100 subscribers will watch it. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like guaranteeing
Yeah,
no,
people.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
But the
Harry
thing is-
Potter's books didn't finish when they were. I think they were making movie 3 when the final book came out.
I'm talking about generally as why
Well, I
books
mean, I
are
just wanna-
appealing
I just
to
wanna-
make as films.
Yeah.
I just want to contradict you there because
Yeah.
I mean you're talking about like making content as like, so you have, okay, so yeah, it's on YouTube. My mate has one of my mates has 3.8 thousand.
3.8 subscribers.
He's got 80% of a subscriber. No, he's got
Get
about,
him to.
he's got about
6,000.
4,000. He's got just under 4,000 subscribers. He's doing live streams to get himself there. Anyway, shout out to Sam.
No
Simpsons.
shout outs on this channel.
It's all the shout outs, man. All the shout outs.
No shout outs till we get shouted out.
Good point. I take it back. Cut
Um,
it out. Yeah, but he has 3.8. But you look at his view count, and it doesn't reflect his subscribers.
Of course, they don't reflect, but it's like I'm just saying
It's a reassuring fact.
It's a stat of success. So with a book, you say, "Oh, I've sold 100 million copies." You're not going to get 100 million people going to go see the movie, but you are going to get a majority or a portion of those people that are.
I think if the thing is, you put it into a bookstore, and if it's appealing to someone's going to buy it, of course. And of course, if someone reviews it and they're like, "Oh, it's really good," like you should give it a read. Of course, it's word of mouth.
Yeah.
But then for the movie, if people like the book, the people are like, "Oh, like especially with Ready Player One that's coming out sometime next year."
I think it's either the end of this year or the start of next year.
So Ready Player One, for people who haven't ever thought of this movie or book, imagine the Matrix. This is literally what it says on the front of the cover. Willy Wonka meets the Matrix.
I don't know how that would work.
Exactly. So, give a brief synopsis. The dude literally made like a virtual reality for everyone. It's kind of like the Matrix, but you can get in and out.
Oh, okay. Yeah? It's more so like Tron.
It's kind of like Tron, but
you can't
you've got this overarching dude who's kind of like overlooking, but he's also dead. So the CEO of the company dies, and he kind of leaves it. Oh, whoever finds the Easter egg. So the whole thing based around the Easter eggs. So it's very much a video game movie, but it's based on a book. I think it's really well. The premise is really good, but just how the book, you're reading it and you're just like, for fuck's sake, I'm reading Willy Wonka, I'm reading The Matrix, and I think that the story.
You think it takes too many things?
I feel like it just fucks with it. There is like it's literally got Charlie's poverty in there. He lives in a caravan that's 20 stories high because of how the society has worked its way around this dystopian kind of form. And
Have you finished the book yet?
Dude, I'm trying to drag myself through it. That's a problem.
You're not enjoying it?
If you were engaged enough, you probably could have read it by now.
Exactly. But the thing is, I haven't I've been reading on the train. It's been early in the morning. I just kind of want to sleep before I get to uni. That's why. Yeah. So I've been tired than I want to read it. I definitely want to read it before the movie comes out. But it's just I've chosen the very bad time to start reading it. But by the time I get to the uni, I think I've read like 1.5 chapters. By the time I get like 4 pages in, I'm like asleep in the train. So
yeah.
So I feel like I will read it. It's gonna take me a long time.
I want to bring up.
Okay, before that, I gotta finish. Ready Player One is just this fucking mess, but I feel like it's word of mouth because they got Steven Spielberg on board.
Well, I feel like are they making the film because the book is popular, or are they making the film because it's a good concept?
I feel like it's a good concept
that they can improve on, obviously, if they make the film.
I think exactly. I think the film will do well mainly because I think it'll be cinematically appealing because of what the book's premise is.
But guess what? What was that new film? Valerian. That looks fucking amazing visually, not like
visually amazing.
The story looks
horrible.
No.
Transformers look visually amazing, but a shit story in every other way.
Looks like See,
that was
really good.
Yeah,
cinematically.
That was a graphic novel. Sorry, that did really well, and that resonated with a lot of people in the same way Star Wars did, and then that's.
Yeah,
now
but like in the same fact, stop Snapchatting me. In the same fact that comic books do well. You look at comic books. Okay, obviously we shouldn't be delving because it's book adaptations. But Sin City, for example.
Yeah.
Sin City, like especially certain directors like Edgar Wright, Scott Pilgrim, for example, tried his best to recreate scenes like panels from the book.
Oh, Scott Pilgrim, that's really good. If you actually feel like weirdly enough that you're watching a comic.
But it doesn't look as high budget. And I feel like kind of makes it a little bit better.
That's 12 books that is put into one movie. So going on what Morgan was saying before about how you condense books
you can spread out a book into 3 trilogies.
They did 12 mini graphic novels and put them into one film.
Okay, but look, one film with mini comic books over a fucking slab of text and 3 movies.
It is still 12 books.
Yes.
It'll still take you an hour to read each one, more or less.
Do you feel like they
Do you feel
did
like
do
Scott-
them justice?
No, I love Scott Pilgrim, and I've read the first two books.
Do you feel
and
that Scott
I'm-
Pilgrim would do better as a mini series on TV if directed by
Netflix series?
Yes, if directed by Edgar Wright.
I reckon Netflix series.
Do you reckon Edgar Wright should direct it?
Yeah, hell yeah. The movie was fantastic.
Exactly. So why not pick him up for another
Yeah,
10
I
like
mean,
12 episodes?
You do 12 episodes.
I
or
feel like you
13
could. I feel like you
episodes.
could. Do,
It's like, you know,
I feel
because
like
that's the Netflix standard is 13 episodes.
I feel like you could do maybe 24. You know, it's like Lemony Snicket, how they've done one book is 2 episodes instead.
Yeah.
Well, there's another one. Lemony Snicket. Hey.
But adding on to the whole, are you done with player one?
Yep.
Are
No,
you-
actually, I'm not. I'm not even halfway
which
through
is-
my argument.
I'm going to bring up 3 books, unless you have something that you want to say.
I
first.
just want to briefly mention if you watched episode 1 where we talked about our top 5 films, I didn't realize No Country for Old Men is a book adaptation,
Oh,
and that was my point before. Is like where people kind of read books for the popularity of the book or the inspiration. It's pre-made content, and they can turn out good. You know, it's my favorite film, and I haven't read the book. I haven't heard about the book, but it just means. But everyone's heard about the Harry Potter the books.
yeah.
So it's almost, in some cases, I'm not sure. I'm not saying that book is going. The No Country for Old Men book is bad in any sense. I'm just saying.
It did a lot better than the book, obviously.
Yeah, the film did a lot better than the book,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But it just depends, you know, how is it? Did they take it away for its concept? Did they take it away for its popularity? Did they take it away because they just got a deal? Did the book guy just get a deal with a studio?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They pitched them. Like, maybe he wanted to pitch the book and stuff, but who knows? Because there's a lot of books that are so well, and they're, you know, young adult books, especially they're so popular among teens and young adults, which is the demographic that they go for, is that they go, oh, you know, New York Times, it's been on the bestsellers list for, you know, months and months. It's the number 1 bestseller. We've got to make a film about this, or a film or a TV series.
Yeah, but
etc.
how many books have actually been on the New York's bestsellers list? Because
Yes,
honestly,
but that
fucking
list-
most books.
But that list is the number 1 bestseller if it's hit number 1.
Yeah.
It's not the. It's not.
So
the
if it is hit, does it have to stay at number 1 for a certain
it's
period
sort of
of time?
like
or is it as soon as it hits number 1 and it can go back down to 2 in
sort
like
of like-
a matter of seconds? Is
yeah.
that counted?
Well, it's sort of like, you know, when you're listening to music and music goes
Yeah.
to the number
Well,
1
like
for like
iTunes.
weeks. Yeah, to the
music,
number 1 of
music
iTunes.
is so liquid these days.
Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that's how that works. And
So
that's
it's
how
like
they-
weekly kind of thing.
Sort
yeah.
of like if it's been up there, you know, for a while.
So my book reached New York bestsellers list
I
of
doubt it works like that.
week
I doubt that-
34 of the year, boys.
I
But
feel,
why is
I
every-
feel like there'd be like a monthly report or something. I don't feel like there'd be, because
I don't think a weekly is enough for books.
is enough for books.
I think a month, because
Yeah,
you
exactly,
think about
that's
how
what
many
I'm
people
saying.
actually
Buy
I mean
books.
audio books these days, that's different. But yeah, so I feel like a month, because people don't tend to, especially with music and iTunes is literally in the palm of our hands these days. Books on the other hand, you kind of have to go out and like actually seek them out individually, and I think a lot of people are straying away from books.
Alright,
Yeah.
I have the definition.
Dead air.
Making the list means everything to the marketing of the book and its author. It leads to bonuses, movie deals, etc., which is what we were saying. It's just, by the looks of it, it just looks like the number 1 bestseller list is the name of the list, not actually the bestseller.
So as soon as you make the list, it's like, oh, cool, you've done well. So it's kind of like a participation
it's
award.
sort of like-
it's almost like an Oscar for.
Well,
a film.
that's a fuck ton of Oscars to give out. Like shit.
Well, I haven't seen the list, but how many?
Well, you think about how many books have remarked themselves as New York bestseller. Like there's a lot of books that do that.
This says, where does the data come from? It says, appearing for the first time in October 1931, the list gave a humble rundown of the 5 top-selling fiction books and the 4 non-fiction books in New York City. By 1942, the Times ranked sales in 22 of the country's largest cities, gathering information from regional bookstores, department stores, wholesales, exactly which retailers are not disclosed to, you know, prevent publishing companies and stuff from taking those numbers in account. A sale of more than one copy to a single buyer is counted as a single copy sold. So if
I bought 3 copies of Maze Runner.
no, so it's like let's say Costco bought like 400.
It counts
like,
one.
That would count as 400 sales.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I thought you said maybe
The list was on its way to being a marketing behemoth as it is today, curating a list of the country's most popular books. So I think what I said was sort of right, is that it is the most popular book. Like, you've got to be in that demographic where you are noticed and that you're selling enough copies to be on that short list of books that are in.
I just feel
it's like iTunes top 100.
Yeah, but so what if I get a song on top 100? I can just be like, oh, dude.
No, but if you think
make
about
a
it, if you
movie
think about a record store, and just say you owned a record store and you're going to sell records and you have to choose a limited amount, you'd choose the top 100.
Okay, yeah.
Wouldn't
that
you?
makes, yeah,
So if you're gonna stock books, you're gonna look at the top 100 best-selling books and stock those books because people are buying them.
Exactly, and that's what it's saying is that they obviously take into account all these things and they would take in account that all the books that are being sold, and
this
then
is a very
they'd
meta episode.
and then they would obviously go, all right, we're selling all these books, and we know that because of the books on that bestsellers list, they're going to be sold. So that's why when they sell 400 copies, they put that down as that's 400 copies.
Because
sold.
eventually you'll probably.
Well, I mean, they're going to be
get
distributed to
sold.
different people. Like, you'd hope so, because I mean, it depends on, I guess, on the stock turnover of the store. I mean, at Costco, it's
Shut up! You're
fairly
working for
big.
worse.
I
Tell
wanna
me
bring up-
these bloody stock turnover things.
Dude, stock turnover. I used to do accounting in year 12. That's why I know stock turnover. All right, shut the fuck up. You don't know me. You don't know my name, not my story, little fuck.
I want to bring up through the 3 that I was going to mention
Okay, yes,
before.
Tell me
because
about
the first
business.
one,
but
the first one is Twilight. No, only because yes, that was one of those bestseller books that was
a piece of shit movie.
Yeah,
though.
but you were saying before about the audience that's already behind the book.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And those books among young women were just like phenomenal, and the numbers of people that were reading them, and from young women to old ladies who were reading these Twilight books, and they just lit up. And by the time the second one was written, they were like, "Yeah, we're making a movie."
Yeah.
So that's an instant where it's just obviously been given so big, and they went downhill as they went, which most do. And there's memes and stuff. They're not great films, but
there is a great meme called a sparkling fucking vampire.
No, that's taken right out of the book though.
Yeah, but it's still a pretty shit.
In the book world, it works. In the films,
Jarek
it's
is
dumb.
very upset about the sparkling thing.
It's fucking not really compared to the vampires you'd get
Yeah.
in like Dracula.
Yes, obviously.
Dracula Untold, like that was a
Yeah.
fucking
But
good.
if you think about what the film and book is, I haven't read the book, but if you take what the film is,
Oh shit! Damn, it did well.
it's understandable. Like in
Wait,
in that
I
universe.
think in the book, because sparkling is not so much probably the strict.
It's they've taken the idea of them burning in the sun and gone, oh, it's not a threat, but it's a threat to their identity rather than themselves.
Yeah. Well, it's a romance too. They're not going to be
Exactly.
like "Rah, rah," and biting everyone.
That's
like,
and that's the thing. It's like
Well, they
they
do,
turned
but,
it
like-
into a lot of action. There's a lot of action in those films, but they are romance,
Yeah.
and that's
Well,
what they've.
So it's basically like it's a teen girl movie.
It's just
I
it's just trying
was-
to take a different approach because like with like 28 Days Later, it's a zombie film by category, but if you actually talk to anyone who like loves a film, they say they aren't zombies. It's a human that's turned extremely violent. That it's like a rage-induced humans. So it's just. Well, I feel
It's
like I didn't get angry about the sparkling because they're just trying to make an existing thing new.
Yeah, and they're making it their own. But that's what you were saying before about.
I was just looking up Twilight's like budget and box office. I was gonna say let's look how they did, and I'm like, shit, they actually did.
That's what I'm saying.
They made so much
Is-
money.
Is
They
that,
did-
is
they
that
got
they made
1,000
so
times-
much
they
money
got
because
1,000
they
times
had
their
the
budget.
audience, and they had the audience, and the first movie did really well. So then spread the word, and next thing you know, all 5 movies were successful.
I think
I'm
Sniper
just-
was a book, American Sniper.
American Sniper, yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know why, but that just popped in my head.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at like how the film kind
But
of
the
did.
second
So
book,
just as what you were saying, like the audience behind it, the fact that the first movie did so well, they decided to invest another 11 million from the original 39 million. So 50 million for the second film, which then made 709 million. So it actually made a lot more. and I was just 2 wiki pages. Probably not right, but good estimates, you know.
The next 2 films that next 2 books I'm going to bring up are the Divergent series and the Mortal Instrument series.
All right,
What was the last one?
The
Sorry?
Mortal Instrument
I've
series.
heard Mortal Instrument is really good.
Yes, the book series, I keep hearing that it's good. It's amazing. I watched the movie when it came out and I loved it. Like, because I was back when I was like 14 or 15, I loved the whole, like, werewolves are here.
So I don't think there is much problem with Mortal Instruments. Let's head over to Divergent.
No, I'm linking these 2 together because these were both that started as films and have failed in the film industry and now being made into television shows.
Yeah, I was
Really?
gonna say,
Divergent?
Divergent,
Allergent.
Divergent.
Is it Allegiant?
Divergent.
Allegiant. No, the third
Allegiant.
book. Allegiant? Yeah, that book is becoming
Insurgent.
No, Insurgent's the second one.
Sorry, I'm just...
They made the first Allegiant movie and then that failed, so they're gonna make the second one as a TV series
That's just
and
stupid.
with different cast, or they're gonna reboot it.
I think they just reboot the whole thing. It's
but
just
yeah,
easy.
but it failed, and they had the audience, but the movies were bad, and so
I feel like the movies may have been bad because it was so, like, I feel like a lot of audiences just like, wait, that's out of another movie. Wait, that's out of another movie. There was just so many, like, especially even the book content, the fact that there's like these different factions. And that kind
Okay,
of-
now can I just pause right there?
the different factions and.
I quickly googled Mortal Instruments.
There's a TV series on Netflix that's shit.
I quickly googled it
I was
and
gonna
I
watch
saw the bad reviews. And I was like, oh, I thought, and then you said it's bad. I'm like, oh, okay, it's a bad movie. But you say it's bad and it failed. Would you say it failed?
I say it was, through the fans, it was fine, but it didn't earn enough for them to it made a cultural stamp.
It may have not made a cultural stamp, but it had the fans. It had a budget of 60 million and had a return of 90 million.
So they only made
30 million. That's still ridiculous.
Hey, think about how that profit's broken up. Okay, so after paying back all those,
No. There is no payback. 30 million was
Yeah,
the
but
cap. There's
but
no one to pay after that.
Yeah, I know, but
60
when
So they
saying-
million.
earned
no,
30 million extra than
They-
what they
after
100%
60 million.
profit is.
So the budget's
after that.
60 million. Okay. Oh, so what? The director made 30 million? Is that
No,
what
they
you're
pay
saying?
everyone before they get any return. So the film can make $1, and guess what? They're still 60 million in debt.
So they've still paid.
Tommy was there.
Huh?
No,
Tommy-
they've still paid
He
every.
got
He got DVD sales.
He put everything into that. He put 6 million, and he's probably only made it back within the last couple of years because of that cult
Who?
following. Tommy Wiseau in the
Oh,
room.
the room. I thought he was 2 mil.
No, he invested 6 million into the room, and he made 1,800 on the original run.
Yeah, wasn't that like the opening weekend or something?
Opening weekend was $1,800,
That
and
sucks.
like after that went like straight. The thing is, because of the cult following, so many cinemas are like, oh, we can
Getting
show
on
this.
it, yeah.
Tommy Wiseau makes more money because of the commission.
But now I just want to put in my point. Just like I'm a studio, and at work, I'm gonna make this book into a movie. They do this. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's a fail, bad reviews," but
Yeah,
everyone
but-
corrects it. And I'm like, "Guess what? I'm happy. I made $30 million."
Yeah, yes, but that's also
Guess
they.
what,
but
motherfucker?
they
I'm
didn't-
getting
they
30
didn't-
new Lamborghinis.
they would have been expecting double and
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
and
Or
to
fucking,
get
they would have
to
been
get-
expecting quadruple,
yeah,
but
and to get enough money to then make a second film, but instead it got scrapped and Netflix picked it up. And Netflix have made 2 series at the moment, I think. I started watching the first one, and it was just one of those shows that are just like horrible garbage to watch because the acting's so bad. I don't even think it has that much of. You guys aren't paying attention.
I just saw
texting.
a second part where I saw the little intro to a link, and it says it made 30. This is the Immortal Instruments City of Bones.
Yeah.
In October 2013, it grossed 31 million at North America and 59 million internationally. So maybe this 90 million is only US.
So
Okay. Rotten Tomatoes gave the television show a 46.
So it's even shitter.
And then the audience gave it a 60. And in modern day, for a television show to get a 60, that's not that good, especially at that Netflix.
Oh, dude.
Especially when people rate usually their favorite shows fucking 10 out of 10. So
Yeah.
Exactly, which means it hasn't. That's
so
out
anyway,
of. That's out of.
I think with all the budget talk about Mortal Instruments and Divergent not being the most successful film series, especially leading up to its very last film.
I'm gonna look up that budget.
Yeah.
I think we've done
Do we
enough
do we
budgeting.
want to go through a list of films before we
Do
wrap
you
up?
want to just
today?
go yay or nay?
Yeah. Do we want to?
Yeah, let's go.
Why-
Yay,
why-
yeah.
yeah.
Alright. Yeah. Quick comments. Let's go.
All right. So the Da Vinci Code. Have you guys seen it?
Yes.
No, haven't.
No, I haven't.
All right. We've got Eric Don. That movie was a
Oh,
flop.
shit,
But
yeah,
I loved that as a kid.
I forgot about that.
The Cat in the Hat.
A
Prime. That's Prime.
prime what? Movie or book?
Book.
What about a movie?
It was okay.
To be honest, I
It was
forgot about Eric on even
whack.
being a fucking.
Okay, sorry. I just want to bring up Narnia actually, because we should have brought this up with
Yeah, we
Oh,
Lord
yeah.
of the Rings.
we got
but-
sidetracked with budgeting.
Well, can I say one?
Harry
I'm
Potter.
gonna have one more quick comment about the
Yeah.
budget. So Divergent's budget was 85 million, and it made 288 million.
Yeah, it was because probably had the exact same thing. Had the
They-
audience behind it.
They didn't have the audience behind it until Insurgent, but Insurgent wasn't as good as the first one. That's
yeah.
why it started going downhill.
Yep.
Well, my point is that books get made into movies because it's like a formula for success.
And it's also easy
it's-
money.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
easy concept because
Exactly.
the materials are there.
And it's easy to
materials
write.
there.
Yeah.
The materials there. Fans are there.
Mm.
Numbers are there. Money's
It's
there.
an easy way to success.
Yeah, but Narnia. Like that,
yeah.
we could have brought that up with
I-
Lord of the Rings actually, because it's
Yeah.
all shot in
And-
the same area.
and it's also shot like in in Oceania. So yeah,
It's all shot in New Zealand. Is that what you wanted to
I
say?
thought Narnia was some of
No,
Narnia was
no.
shot here, wasn't it?
We're
So
the
was
same
Lord of the
country.
Rings, but Narnia is a
No,
very,
yeah,
very,
it's-
very, very New Zealand film.
Okay, I just all I know is that some of it was shot here.
Yeah, no, but
Thank you for letting Australia have a film industry, Lucky.
But Narnia is this whole big book where they can make a TV show out of it. They can make movies out of it, and like it'll be great. But the actors were too old, and they can't come back now.
It's exactly the same thing with Diary of a Wimpy Kid. They got up to about 4
Oh,
films,
fuck
yeah.
and fucking boom, can't do it anymore. What's his name?
Well, the problem with that book is only parents buy that for their kids. No one's buying that by choice, are they?
No.
Like parents buy it for
I
their
thi-
kids, and that's where the sales are coming from. And then the movies come out, and like, okay, I'm gonna take my kid to see this. I don't know.
But I feel like the thing is that you kind of ruin a movie series like that when you decide to reboot it with the
With
cast.
book
Just
4.
yeah, exactly.
You reboot it with book 4. Wait, no.
Yeah, you reboot
no,
it from
book
where you
5
finished. Yeah.
actually, because
Actually, no, the new one, the
It's
newest
the
one.
brand new book.
It's the
What?
brand,
I
the
know.
most newest
Why do you-
book.
oh, they should-
Why
oh,
didn't you
man.
just decide? Fuck it. Let's actually just. If you're gonna reboot it, either reboot it from the start with younger actors so you can make more, or reboot it from where you finished at the end of the last, in a way, the era, and start there.
you know why?
Technically, you can still do that.
You know why?
It's a multiverse, motherfuckers.
No. You know why? It's we need to make more money. I don't care what you do. Make me more money. That's how the conversation went.
mentality.
It was, no guy was like imagine with like the Lord of the Rings, like the fourth one is just like fucking random as. Just like they're not being loyal to the book franchise. But then again, is it such a great book franchise? Diary of a Wimpy Kid, like
yeah, but that's what we're saying is that
I think it's a relatable thing for young teens. That's probably
it's
why.
but it's
you know?
also
Yeah.
a
Young
parent.
teens
It's,
going through puberty.
but it is parents, and it's the first book that kids read because it's so easy to read, and
Yeah.
then they think that they can make films, but it doesn't have the same. Like it does, like the book. Reading that book, that it has that
books-
style and that works. But then reading the film, watching
Reading
the film,
yeah. I mean, we read films.
it doesn't have that, it doesn't
get all pretentious. Like
Yeah, we read films.
it doesn't have that same like world.
I feel like
when you're watching it.
The other
that's
thing
what you
is
read.
that there is so much different between just say Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules, and between the book and the movie.
Well, do the
because
books even have plots? I thought
Yeah,
that
the books are very
it's
much
just like
all
a
over
day
the
in the
place.
life
But
sort of
I
thing.
think I've read the books when I was that young, and I was just like thinking, like, yeah, it's just like this guy's life, but you know,
It's a
not-
life with a plot. That's
Is
what
it?
they are.
yeah,
I want to bring this up.
and it's never coming of age because
Alright.
he's always the same age.
Game of Thrones.
No, he can't. Oh, okay, so the one TV series successful with a book franchise.
The Walking Dead.
Get out of here.
That's graphic novel,
I'm
you
out.
fucking
Oh, fuck
retard.
off! You open it, it's paper, you flip it.
Touche. Okay. But okay, like a book with a very intense lore and completely different to what modern day is like. You'd say that TV series is definitely. I mean,
Yeah,
a
and
lot of
it's
shit's
controversial
changed.
now as well.
It's different to the book, to the fact that some things are different. And I know, like, we have a friend who is very pissed off about how, Grey Worm and Missandei, or I think it's Missandei, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Missandei are together, but Missandei's 10 years old in the book.
Yeah.
That's a small, like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, but that's another thing. They have
you
to
can
change
do-
that for like TV audiences. You can't have a 10-year-old fucking.
You know,
Fucking a
you
dude
know what I
without a
always think about
dick.
though. You know what I always think about is also, do you kind of want to have a different experience? Do you want to have the exact
Exactly.
same
Yeah.
experience as reading the book? Like, you've already read the book. Let's have a new experience with the content.
That's why like obviously like I like The Hobbit, and I know like the movies didn't do super good. They still made money, but like
They made money,
which-
but they're
which-
bad
like-
movies.
but like
The Hobbit.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
But that's the thing. Even adding those little bits in there makes it a different experience. All right, back to the list.
Just fire
The
'em up,
Golden
boy.
Compass.
What? Who?
Haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it.
Me either. Lightning Thief.
Haven't
Percy
seen it.
Jackson's.
Have seen it. Not bad.
Yeah,
I've seen
I
one
really
of
like
the
those
Percy
films.
Jacksons. And
The first one. I rewatched that.
Still
I
holds
don't
up.
like. I don't like it.
I
don't like it?
couldn't get into it.
I don't like it anymore. After watching it again, second time, after analyzing that shit down to the very last like little knob, it's shit.
I just thought it was a bit
Dialogue is
weird.
like clunky. Characters are just bad. So many characters exist for no apparent reason.
Lightning round.
Besides the
lightning
fact
round,
that
lightning
yeah,
round, lightning round.
ding 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 ding.
Can't
ding,
believe
ding,
we
ding,
forgot these,
Yeah.
but the Hunger Games and Maze Runner.
Ah,
All right, so we'll pick them up the next episode. No, so yeah, okay.
I like The Hunger Games.
The Hunger
Yeah,
Games
it's
first movie was amazing.
Second movie was better.
I thought
Second
they
movie was-
progressively got better.
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
better until I think
Until the last
Mockingjay Part 1 was
Yeah.
pretty disappointing. Mockingjay Part 2 was good.
Yeah,
Except the ending.
Good point. Yep, I didn't like one.
Catching Fire, I go Catching Fire, Hunger
One.
Games, Mockingjay Part 2, Mockingjay Part 1.
Yeah.
I do.
Maze Runner, good. I've read all 3 books.
I haven't seen the second one.
Loved Maze Runner to the fact that I wanted to read it.
Yeah, that's the same. That's the same with me. But I read the first book
I still
after
haven't-
watching the first movie. Started the second book and then watched the second movie
think-
and then went back and read the second book and read the third book before the film comes out. I don't know how the fuck they're gonna do the third movie with having where they're at, where they're
it's
at.
pretty.
in the
I,
book.
I've read like the synopsis of the book, and it just
book
seems
one
fucked up.
almost beat for beat. Book 2, they've changed the whole thing. They've taken stuff from book 3 into movie 2.
Oh, wow, really?
And yeah, they end up in different places at the end of
it's
book and the end of movie 1 and the end of film 2. They're in different places where they're at in the end of book 2.
But I feel like sometimes they do that too. Like I said before, they want to change it up. But
Yeah.
also when you read Harry Potter, like
You know,
X
yeah.
dies,
Yeah.
X dies. You're like, oh, that spoiled the movie.
Snape kills Hermione. Harry stabs himself with his
No, but
umbrella.
yes,
Spoils the film. So they want to have
Spoilers
less
alert.
spoilers.
This is also an instant where I do think the movies are better than the books.
Because Maze Runner, the first Maze Runner, kept you in suspense. You didn't have any idea what the fuck was going on, just
Yeah.
like the main protagonist, which was.
He's
you
all-
only found out his name when he found out his name.
Yeah, I didn't like
Which I-
like reading the Maze Runner books, but I reckon his new series, which I'm reading now, the Mortality Dog Green, that is a lot better written. He's obviously gotten as a better writer. Holes.
Oh, love it.
Charlotte
Shia LaBeouf.
I did.
Love the book. The book was really good.
More Twilight. Romeo and Juliet. Matilda.
Classic.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
good, the original.
Very good metaphors.
Every Stephen King book.
Haven't read a single one.
The Jurassic Park.
Is that a Stephen King book?
No, it's by Michael.
See, that's how
Crichton.
much I don't know. Jurassic Park, good movie. Didn't even know it was a book.
Really?
No, did not
Okay. Going down the list, Polar Express.
Love that movie as an animation.
You know what? I'm done.
All right.
I think. Wait, sorry. Princess Bride.
Oh,
And
shit, yeah,
That's
boy.
been an episode.
Right.
Title card is up.
Cool. So we'd also like to just thank JMC for letting us use their equipment. I'll see you guys next week. I mean, in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, etc. You know,
Thanks
help us
for-
out.
Like, comment, subscribe.
We-
Follow us on SoundCloud,
yeah.
Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Follow us at home as well if you really want.
Thanks for Morgan for jumping on the podcast.
Yeah, we do put a lot of effort into this. You know,
Yeah,
even
but
if we
again,
don't have the crowd around it, but you know, we love doing it, so we're gonna keep doing it.
And I want to say thank you to our number 1 fan, Keaton Graham.
We'll see you guys next time.
Do, 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 do.